Hey everyone, welcome to the video and thanks for watching. It's truly appreciated. I was asked to do this video uh, by a Storm fan, and so I thought it would be fun to go ahead and do it, especially seeing how Quad City Storm is going to be playing the Rivermen Thursday morning at 10:30 for their education game. I was kind of asked to give my opinion on the Storm, the season they've had, and just overall how they're doing and been. I've seen a lot of Storm games. Obviously, they played the Rivermen 8 times this year, so I have a good idea. How the Storm play, how they're like, and man, they're a bit of an enigma because on one hand, when they're rolling, they can be a very difficult team to deal with and tough to beat. But on the other hand, when they're cold, they are ice cold and basically take a nosedive right off a cliff and can't seem to do anything right. So yeah, it's an interesting team, and I'm kind of excited to do the video, honestly. So we'll just get right into it then. We're in year one of Coach Shane Toporowski. As you all know, Dave Shinitsny was canned and now is coaching Macon, which I still believe that was the right move to make. I don't think Shinitsny was going to do anything with the Storm, and I just don't. I think it was time for a change, and I don't know about this Shane Toporowski. I mean, he started out pretty hot, but some of the moves he's made been questionable. And well, right now the Storm are sitting in ninth place, so that's just on the outside of the playoffs. They got 33 points. Technically, they are tied with Macon Mayhem, who also have 33 points. But if you look at the standings on the app or website, they have Macon in 8th and Storm in ninth. So it's kind of a big game coming up against the Rivermen, this education game. It's a game they need to win. We'll get into the Storm's overall record, which is 15, 18, 2 and 1. So they have a losing record as of right now, which is no surprise considering they're in ninth place. They are above 500 at home with a record of 10, 7 and 1. And on the road, they are 5, 11, 1 and 1. So not a very good road record for the Storm. Their win percentage is .458, so below 500, obviously, like I said. Getting into some of their numbers, like goals for and goals against. The goals for the team this year is 108. Like I said, Storm is very capable of scoring goals. They're really led by two standout goal scorers, three when one of them's healthy, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Goals allowed, though, is 132. And they do have a good goalie. Really, Brent Moran is a good goalie, but he comes under siege a lot. And, I have my opinions on Brent Moran, even though I think he's a good goalie. I don't always think his mental game's the best in the world. He's kind of easier to rattle than other goalies, and you could stress him out and kind of break him easier than other goalies, in my opinion, from what I've seen. And again, like I said, and it's pretty obvious, it kind of goes without saying, you want to have more goals for than goals against. That's, again, part of the reason that they're down where they are. From what I've noticed, their team defense and special teams are just really not that great. They do have some good defenders, but I would say overall as a team, including the forwards, their team defense really isn't that great, and they have a tendency to turn the puck over a lot and surrender a lot of shots on goal. So if they have any hopes of doing better in the standings and not missing the playoffs, they really got to clean that up. They're 1-4 in their last 5 games, and they're on a 4-game losing streak. So, You know, like I said, when they're cold, they're ice cold, and they've been cold lately. And heading into the Rivermen, who's riding a 5-game win streak and is pretty confident and hot right now, it's not looking good for the Storm, to say the least. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Riverman fan. I'm saying that because the numbers tell me that, and my eyes work. So they are 5-5 though in their last 10 games, just 500, which ain't bad. And when I say ain't bad, I mean ain't bad for them. I guess I should have clarified that. Going over some of their special teams numbers, on the power play, 18 goals out of 108 opportunities. That's only good for a 16.67 success rate. I sound like a broken record. I say this on all the videos, but you definitely want to be above 20%, closer to 25%, especially in this league on the power play. So they're well below that. And like I've hinted at earlier, I think special teams is an issue for them. On the on the penalty kill, they've allowed 31 goals out of 128 for a 75.78 success rate. And again, you want to be above 80%. So they're about 5% below that. And even if they make the playoffs, you know, those numbers have got to be much better if they want to escape the first round. But the way they're playing right now, they may be on the outside looking in. Just my honest to God opinion on that. So versus the Rivermen this year, they actually haven't played horrible. You know, they've had a couple bad games against the Rivermen, yes, but they've actually been pretty competitive. For example, last year, they only had 4 total wins against the Rivermen. Well, they got 4 wins this year. They're 4-4 against the Rivermen this year. So as long as they win one more game, they'll have a better record against the Rivermen than they did last year, unless they lose out the rest of the games they got with the Rivermen. Their biggest win against the Rivermen, and I was there, it was in Peoria, and it was hard to watch. They won 7-4 and scored 6 goals in the first period, which is something I've never seen done against the Rivermen, no matter the team. That was very hard to watch. They got 2 goals on Colby Muse, on the first 3 shots of the game, and they pulled them. And they brought in Peroni, which was our backup at the time, and he surrendered 4 goals in the first period. And then they stuck Colby Muse back in the game, and he didn't allow another goal. The 7th goal came on an empty net. Rivermen actually did a pretty good job coming back in that game, and at one point in time the score was 6-4 before they got that empty net goal. So as embarrassing as that first period was, Storm was letting the Rivermen back into that game. So again, that's interesting. And the biggest loss they've had against the Rivermen was a 9-3 loss. So again, like I said, they've done some good things against the Rivermen, but obviously they've done some poor things as well. So now let's touch on the players a little bit. And we're kind of going to go over some players that are on IR or no longer on the team with moves that's been made that I found interesting. But we'll start with the IR. Right now they got Nick Levesque on the IR. Cole Golka on the IR, which is huge. I mean, that's part of the reason they're probably floundering right now, is because of Golka being on the shelf. And Brent Moran, their number 1 goalie, is also on the IR as well. That don't bode well for playing against the Rivermen. Brent Moran can have good games against the Rivermen for sure, and Golka is a Riverman killer, just like Leif Matson. When those two are on the ice together against the Rivermen, it can be a long day for the Rivermen, or any team for that matter. but obviously that's not the case. Cole Golka has only had 11 games with the Storm this year, and he's been injured a vast majority of the season. Some interesting moves that I think Storm have made is they got rid of Houston Wilson, which I thought he could have been a great player for Storm. I thought that was a great addition. Matt Yastowski is no longer a member of the Storm, but from what I hear from some Storm fans, they don't mind that. Even though he's been very productive for Storm, he started the year with the Storm this year, and there was no production. It was like he didn't even want to be there. It doesn't seem like he wants to be in the SPHL period, let alone a member of the Storm. So maybe not a bad thing. Smirnov Sava, he played great for the Storm, and he kind of was a Riverman killer in a way himself. He got a hat trick against the Rivermen. He played the Rivermen tough, and he's no longer there to aid them. Ryback, I thought, was a decent player for him that they got rid of. And the two big ones that surprised me was getting rid of Doug Blaisdell and Jake Maynard. I mean, those are two pretty decent defenders that Storm let go. It is what it is. They're no longer there, so we'll just have to see where it goes from there. Going over some of the players that are here, we'll go over their numbers and what they're doing for the Storm. Obviously, they're led in production by Leif Matson, who's an MVP candidate. He's the MVP of the Storm for sure, but MVP candidate for the league. He's got 51 points on the year, one less than Alec Bear, who has 52, and 23 goals scored and 28 assists. He's been carrying the Storm. Two players. This next player's also been right there with Leif Matson, carrying the Storm on their back as far as production goes, and that's Whelan Parrish. Whelan Parrish has 37 points, 9 goals, and 28 assists, and he's been a great player for the Storm this year, and I actually really like him. Johnny Witzke, he's got 16 points on the year, 8 goals, 8 assists. He's been a pretty consistent player for him. Tommy Seacoast, their captain, again, he's got 16 points, same as Witzke, 8 goals, 8 assists. But honestly, I think you need more from your captain. You need more production from your captain, and he's kind of been down on that a little bit. Dylan Fournier, I think he anchors that defense with the Storm, and a veteran with the Storm. He's got 10 points, 2 goals, 8 assists. Just to give you an idea of what those numbers are like, earlier, like I said, Cole Golka has only played 11 games with the Storm this year, and he has 14 points on the year, which is 5th best on the team. 6 goals and 8 assists. 8 assists is tied for 3rd best on the team. That's a problem. They're just not getting production from the other players who's not named Leif Matson and Whelan Parrish. They completely depend on those two right now for production, and when they're not producing, they're getting beat 8-1 by the Havoc. So, I mean, that's what the numbers say. And you need others to step up. Whelan Parrish and Leif Matson can't do it all on their own. Yes, they do get help from Johnny Witzke and Tommy Seacoast. It's just not enough. They need more production from role players. Michael Moran, for instance, could get his numbers up, maybe worry less about fighting and more about producing. Same could be said for a few of the Storm members on that. So, I think those numbers kind of explain why Storm are in the position they are in. You just can't rely on like 2-3 key players to produce everything for you. You got to have production all the way around from your team. You got to have a great team defense, and you got to have a good special teams. Otherwise, you're basically shooting yourself in the foot, and you're not doing your goaltender any favors either. Brent Moran on the year has played 23 games. He's 12-8-1, so he's above 500, and he has 2 shutouts on the year, so not bad. His goals against average is 3.13, and his save percentage is 0.911%. So not bad considering he doesn't get much help usually from the team. Right now, Ronnie, I'm going to butcher this name, Ronnie Slamankis. He's their starter right now. I think he's the only one rostered as the goalie as I'm shooting this video, so they'll probably sign an emergency backup. They started Cooper Reed, and Reed Cooper, and he's already waived and off the team. So Ronnie's numbers is 10 games played. He has a 2-5-1 record, so not that great. No shutouts. Goals against average of 3.78 and a save percentage of 0.896. And you'd like your save percentage to be above 90. He's not far off that, obviously, but, it's still below 90. And obviously you want your goals against average to be below 3. So it's not all on the goalies. Like I said, they really don't get a lot of help with Storm turning the puck over and not playing good team defense and not having a great special teams. It really kind of handicaps the goalies. It honestly does. So, those have been some of the numbers from the Storm. Like I said, they got a big game coming up against the Rivermen. But with some of the players they're missing, they're not going to be starting Moran. Golka is not in the lineup. Like I said, Smirnov Sava was a big producer against the Rivermen. He's obviously not going to be in the lineup. Houston Wilson, that's an energy guy right there. I think he could have done so much for the Storm. Not there. Oh, and Dominic Dumas. He's on the IR as well. Like I said, I do think it's going to be a struggle for Storm to be consistent, and they could be on the outside looking in when it comes to the playoffs. There is a possibility they'll be watching the playoffs from home. I think they're going to be competing with Macon for the most part. I'm still on Pensy missing the playoffs. I think there's a good chance Pensy still finishes in last place. And really, it's between Macon, Quad City, and the Thunderbolts to see who else misses the playoffs with Pensy and who just sneaks into the playoffs. When it comes to those 4 teams, 2 of them are going to miss. The other 2 are going to be the 7th and 8th seed. I don't think any of those 4 teams finish above 7th place. So we'll see what Quad City Storm has to offer the Rivermen during this education game. Again, obviously, they're going to be relying heavily on Leif Matson. And with Brent Moran not at net, it's going to be a tough task to beat the Rivermen. They're going to have to stay out of the penalty box, not get into the rough stuff too much, play some disciplined hockey, and they're going to have to help out Ronnie. This ain't Brent Moran at goal. This is Ronnie. I just read off his numbers. 2-5-1, goals against average above 3. I mean, they're going to have to do what they can to bail them out, blocking shots, not turning the puck over, clearing the zone, not letting the Rivermen set up. Could be a long day for Storm, but like I said, Storm seem to play their best hockey against the Rivermen most times. So, who knows? We'll see how it goes. I think the Rivermen will take this game and go on a 6-game win streak, and I think Storm is going to go on a 5-game losing streak, but I could be wrong. We'll just have to wait and see. So with that, go ahead and wrap it up. See you guys at the next puck drop, and I always keep it Rivermen style.